Hi there. Tonight I'm going to show you how to change the power cord on your dryer. This is the back of my dryer, which is a 220 volt electric dryer here in the US. And my problem is that this is the power cord here and it's too short. It just stretches over to where the outlet is on the wall, but it's about, I think it's just a 6-foot cord and it's not quite long enough.
This is a typical socket used for dryers. I would imagine stoves probably use the same kind of outlet. Anyhow, and this particular one, if I pull this out, there you go, you can see that it's 4-prong, and as is the outlet here. And you have to remember that there are 4-prong and 3-prong versions, so you have to buy the appropriate cord. But basically just look at what's on your dryer now, and then buy the longer cord or the shorter cord. If that.
Changing out the cord is pretty easy, you just need a few tools. And I went on Amazon, and this is the cord I bought. Electric dryer cord, 10 feet or 3.05 meters, and essentially it's a 4-wire 30 amp. You just got to make sure it has the same 4-wire plug. Pretty much all dryers in the US have this same plug, and we're going to change this out. Okay, so let's open up this packaging here. Use a knife. Get this open. Let's check out what this looks like inside. Interesting. It's all shrink wrapped here. Just careful when you're opening this up. All right. So it looks like they give you, that's right, they give you a little bit of a strain relief for it. And then there we go. 4 wires. So in the United States, this is basically the neutral. And you have 2 hots. Neutral is always white. Hot is normally black. But because this has 2, it's red. And then of course the green is the ground cable. And let's just check the plug here. Definitely the same kind of plug I have now. But anyways, there we go. Okay. Okay, before I take the cord off, there is a label on the back of my dryer that shows you how to install a new cable. And basically, this is showing a 3-wire. So it has a hot and a neutral, no ground. And what it wants you to do is apparently there's a brass strap between the ground terminal, which is that screw, and the one with the neutral's connected, because of course ground and neutral are basically the same. So it wants you to connect the entire chassis to neutral. But since I'm using a 4-wire cable, basically the green terminal will go there, and then hot wire, you know, there's 1 hot wire here and 1 hot wire up here, and then the neutral in the middle. Okay, so the first thing you have to do, of course, is make sure you unplug your dryer. That is 100% critical here. Don't do this while it's connected. So this is the access panel where it goes, and you just have to remove the screws. I'm assuming your dryer will be similar. Let's take this panel off. This will reveal the terminal block. Okay, so this is a little bit interesting. So inside there you can see the wires where they're attached to the terminal block, and there appears to be something weird going on. This red wire here is actually loose, and if you look at the terminal block there, see the bottom of the terminal block is broken off, and it feels like it's actually inside this taped bundle. So that's a little bit ghetto. It's pretty dangerous. I mean, I'm glad this is grounded, because this terminal is hot and it's up against the back metal cabinet of this. Luckily there's a ground here, so if it did short out, I would hope it would get hot and it would probably trip the breaker. But yeah, it's not so great. And it's also a bit crappy there's no strain relief on the cord here. So we'll see what we can do about that. Alright, so let's start taking this stuff off. I'm going to use my nut driver here to unscrew the ground, and of course, remember, unplugged. Let's try to unwrap this bird's nest of electrical tape. Someone else put this dryer together. It was in the house that I bought. When I was here when I bought it. So I did not have a party to this shenanigans here. Alright, I'm happy to say at least there seems to be a copious amount of it on here. And I don't see any exposed wires. So it's not likely that this was going to cause a short. But still, not ideal. Okay, so I got this off. And yeah, just as I thought, it snapped off. And there's the connection. So I need to go find a nut driver that fits this. Okay, to take off the nuts on here, I had to go and find my socket wrench to do it. I figured they would be a standard size like my nut driver would work with, but not. And we're going to take this off. Ooh, someone had put it on very tightly. Okay, I have all of the wires disconnected. There's a washer on this one. It's very weird. This is just sort of random the way this is attached. But anyhow, okay, so now all the wires are off. Pull the old cable through. There we go. It's off. Okay, so the terminal block is broken on my dryer, so I had to buy a new one because it's really not safe to have 120 volt wires floating around inside of a metal case. Yes, it's grounded, but it's still dangerous. So I got onto eBay and I started searching, and inside here, if you look at the part number here, it just says terminal block, and this is what it looks like. It came with a bunch of nuts and washers, and it even came with somewhere floating around in here. There it is. Well, there's a ground strap as well. And that was for the configuration. When you looked at my back of my dryer, it had a sticker. It showed the ground, or you said it showed a 3-wire connection without a ground. And this went from the neutral to the chassis as a ground. Anyhow, I couldn't find the exact part for the dryer. I have an Admiral brand dryer. Apparently, Admiral is a Home Depot special of a Whirlpool, I think. Whirlpool makes it. It's like their house brand. It's cheap. It's old. I think it's from the 90s. So it's, you know, ancient. And I couldn't really find anything anywhere about replacement parts for it. So I picked up this because it looked like it would work. And the brands that are on here are none of the brands that the dryer is. But it seems like, at least here in the United States, this is a very typical terminal block used in stoves as well. And I think a lot of dryers, basically things that use 220 volts. So I'm hoping it's going to work. The only thing that will make it not work is if these 2 screw holes here are in the wrong spot. Here's my broken terminal block. You can see this was already like this. This is the positive, well, one of the hots, I'm sorry. And they had attached the old cable, just taped it up. And then as I was taking off this one, this just popped right out. It's as if the, you know, this is held into this plastic here, maybe because it gets hot, I don't know. So this came out. It might have been like that already, to be honest. So that's the other hot. And the neutral's the only one that's actually firmly attached, and the rest are bad. So I'm going to take that block out. You can, there's just 2 nuts right here and here. Hopefully it just pops out through this hole, because I don't really see an easy way to take the back off without taking the entire shell of the dryer off. So there's the terminal block out of the dryer, and that's the broken part. This was one of the hots that was taped up, and this was one of the studs that came out. I know it's a bit hard to see due to the light here, but yeah, it's like it had just twisted free. It sort of has a knobby bit and there's a little bit of plastic on there, but there it is. That's the bad part, and I'm pretty sure the new one is going to fit right in. Oops. I am pretty confident that we're going to have no problem putting this in the dryer. It looks totally compatible. I just broke. I just broke the new one. Damn it. This is ridiculous. Luckily... Oh, that sucks. Well, I broke one of the little dividers. Luckily, you know, it shouldn't matter too much. All the studs are still in place. It's just that's really frustrating. It's because my socket wrench wouldn't get that close in, and I can't believe this just snapped off so easily. That's ridiculous. Well, I guess $4. That's all you get. Alright, well, that little tab broke off, and at this point I don't care, so I'm going to put this thing back together here. That black wire goes on the top one. The two neutrals go in the middle here. And then the red wire goes into a place it hasn't been in who knows how long. And so the bottom there. So let's get the cord here. So red was at the bottom, then white. This is like completely reversed. Red at the bottom, white, then black was at the top, and the ground goes onto here. So we'll feed these through. Alright, so initially put that there, and that one there, black one on the top. By the way, there's a strain relief for this cable here, and it just I tried to see if I could make it fit. It's just not compatible with this dryer hole. Obviously, this dryer probably had a strain relief initially, and who knows what happened to it. You know, it's missing. So that's what happens, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to make sure these go straight. I'm going to hold the wire, and then I'm going to turn the nut. And it's making sure I was using the right socket there. Okay, so they all look pretty well attached right now. So I'm just gonna do the final tight. There we go. Now these are nice and solid. Okay, so the cable's attached, and all I'm missing is the ground. And remember I showed you that ground strap, which is right here. I don't need to use this. And what this was is it would go here, and you would obviously bend it down onto that middle terminal there. So when you attached it, it's not bent enough. I'd have to kind of bend it, but they seem to have given you enough, like the hole there is there's enough of a hole there so you can put it on there, and I could have wrangled that on, but there's really no need because I'm using a 4-wire cable which has a ground. Twist this around here. Sorry, I know I'm blocking the camera. Like that. And I just need to get the right socket because this is a different size than those nuts. There we go. Okay, so this is done, and I want to try and do some strain relief on the cable. I don't like how it's just sort of flopping around here. This is the strain relief little kit they give you. It has 2 screws and these little kind of flaps.
And the way it would normally work is you would take this and it would be wrapped around the cable, but the flaps would be behind this metal plate here. So you would take this apart and tuck one of them in and tuck the other one in and then cinch it down onto the cable, and that would hold the cable, you know, so if you tugged on it, it wouldn't pull on these connectors on the inside. All right, so with the hammer and some vice grips, I reshaped these strain reliefs. So basically, they used to just go from this part here, the cinch part would just go straight up. So I hammered it flat and then I hammered in a thing, like a little bend. And I think that should do the trick. There we go. Not bad. It definitely is holding on. Now when it gets tugged, just pulls on that, nothing else. All right, the last part, now that I have the strain relief on, is to just attach this cover. And I think it just goes like this, basically. You tuck it in there, and then it has two screws. Which go right here. There we go. So compared to before, I have strain relief installed. Before I had none. Now I have a 10-foot cord, or a little over 3 meters, and the terminal block is not broken inside any longer. Okay, so the last step here is to just see if the dryer works. So I'll put it on heat. So it turns on, that's a good sign. And I guess the question is, it could technically be running the motor and the timer off. These likely run on 120 volts, so they're probably running off a single one of the lines, legs, plus the neutral. But the heating element on this dryer is under here, and I'll let this run for a second. We'll just see what happens. Okay, it's a success. There's heat coming out of the dryer. It's working. I have my nice long cord, and I fixed those other safety issues. So thanks for watching. If you found any of this helpful, give me a thumbs up. Bye.